Hey everyone, welcome to this video. I have already uploaded this particular one where I show you the easy / beginner version, and it was a lot less detail, a lot less paying attention, but more fun, a little bit more free, you know, and just creating it. This one we will do the frame, we do the loops so that they're more consistent, we add in beads, we cover adding in and cutting the wire so that, you know, if you end up using more wire than the first version. So this one's more the I'd say intermediate rather than advanced. We're putting a little bit more detail and we're paying a little bit more attention, a bit more consistent, and again we're adding in extra detail. So if you are interested in seeing how we made this love heart, then please keep on watching. Okay, so to begin with, we're going to start in the exact same way that we did on the beginner version. We're going to take those 20 centimetres. You can do less if you want, it's entirely up to you. The finished size, if you recall, was this, if you watched that video. So then we're going to go in about halfway again and create that V. And in exactly the same way, we're going to start to fold over and create the love heart shape. Okay, and then we're going to take our round nose pliers, just going to push that out the way for the moment. Bring that back through, close that up, there we go, and then on the other side and then cut it flush. Against there. Let's just make sure the shape's where I want it to be, and then close this up. Okay, and to begin with, we're going to take the same 50 centimetres in weaving wire. I'm using 0.3 28 gauge. Or Mills 18 gauge. I don't think I even said that in the other video. I'll have to insert that. Again, same length, and we're going to attach it in the same way. So I'm going to go through these loops the first time. So I'm going to, well, actually it's slightly different to how I attached it the first time, and I'm going to feed back up in between the loops just so that this detail isn't on the frame. So it's slightly more difficult, requires a bit more dexterity and paying a bit more attention with your eyes, which if you struggle with those things, obviously there's a bit of a problem. Okay, and then this is why it's slightly more difficult than the first version. Well, this is one of the reasons. But I really wanted to do like a beginner, easy, doesn't have to be perfect, just have fun, and then this is where we try and keep it symmetrical. We do every single loop, we're trying to do as much as we can. Okay, so we're going to go through and up, and we really want to try and get these loops about the same size each time. It's easier to do it with smaller loops if you want to do that. If you really want, you know, precise loop sizes, doing it smaller is easier, just because of the way you can then pull the wire. You want to kind of keep this wire heated. Okay, just gonna keep pulling it a bit more. Okay, there we are. So it does just involve paying a little bit more attention, a bit more adjusting. On the first one it really didn't matter because it was just about doing the pattern really and having a bit of fun. I've actually gone too tight this time, so I'm gonna feed a bit more wire into that. Okay, and then pull. There we go. Oops. Picking up my light system there. Okay, and then again, probably going to end up being about this size, aren't we? So pull, make it smaller, and again, we're doing it by eye. You can use something to put in between if you want. If you want to use, say, your pliers, you can. I prefer just sort of matching it again by eye. I just find that easier. Remember to pull this way and then pull that way when you're at the size you want. And we're just going to continue. I'm not going to add in beads on this layer, so you've already seen this. I'm just going to go all the way around, and then we'll add in beads on the second layer. This is just about, you know, keeping everything about the same size. Okay, so we've done that first layer. The difference being here is obviously the time and attention to detail. To do that one layer probably took as long, if not longer, than it took to do the full beginner version, where we weren't really paying quite so much attention to size. We were just, you know, doing the technique and playing around. So if you do want, you know, that consistency and more detail, it does take a bit more time. It does take a bit more correcting what you're doing. But again, if this is what you guys prefer, then of course go right ahead. It's your jewellery. If you like that, you do that. You do you, girls and guys. Okay, so now we're going to switch. And on the last one, I actually found it easier going forward and then back up. It was just easier rather than having to fight the wire and figure it out that way. So I'm going to do that again here. The main reason being my dexterity. I don't know if you guys can tell that my hands are shaking quite a bit today. Hopefully it's not too obvious while I'm filming, but because of that I am going to switch sides. Also, this way we end up sitting, you can see the loops there, we're actually going to end up sitting over them rather than having to kind of work into them. And we're going to do every loop, unlike last time where we skipped. We may need to skip a couple later on, the reason being, so as you can see, this space here is going to fill up quicker than, say, like the wider space down here. That's just because of the shape we're doing, so we will end up skipping parts later on. Not yet, but it will happen. So I'm just going to continue on. Actually, I'll add a bead in because that was important, wasn't it? The whole point of this is adding beads. I just have this little one here that I'm going to use. This is all plastic. If you were doing these as earrings, I mentioned it in a previous earring tutorial, you want to consider the weight of what you're putting on. These are just some plastic beads. I'm going to use these whiter looking ones just because I like them. They've got like a rainbow sheen to them. I think they're cute. So we're just going to, this is important because, you know, often I'll say, you know, when we're wrapping and stuff, work off the reel. Well, when you're doing any sort of Viking knit, you can't really do that, and also you'd have to have like the beads on before you even began, and that's just a bit of a pain. So that's another good thing about adding in beads here, is we put the bead on first before we even go through the next lot. It can move, so you might want to hold it in place, but we're going to go forward and then we come up through here, and the bead needs to be caged basically in that space. So pull that through here. I'm just going to create that rounder shape, and you want to hold the bead here for now so it's sort of out of the way, because we need to make this a bit smaller. Pull it, and then the bead will sit kind of in this area. Okay, so I can get away with pulling a bit more. So I'm going to push the bead over again. So the bead just sits there. I wouldn't do a bead every single time because that would take up a lot of space. So we're going to go back through, up here, up again. Do that. But every so often, obviously incorporating a bead gives it that little bit of extra detail. I think I'll do another one here just to show you guys. So take another one of those same beads. I'm also going to show you adding in, because as you can see this wire isn't going to do the whole thing. This is partly why it's a bit more advanced than the original quick tutorial. Again, this is taking more time, but you've got more detail and more going on within the piece, so that's kind of the whole point of a intermediate plus piece, isn't it? So again, we're just going to hold in this bead, and I'm pulling the wire this way, and then probably get away with pulling a bit more. There we go. And the bead just sits in there. It's not going to move any. It's entirely up to you how often you put beads in. You could literally just put 1 or 2 in. You could put them, I mean, I wouldn't put them on every loop unless you were doing them, you know, a lot bigger. Like say on this piece where we, you know, we skip loops and stuff, you probably could get away with putting in some beads in between with those ones because they're bigger. But in this version, obviously, where we're doing it smaller and more delicately, you don't really want to be doing that. Okay, so I think I did 3, so that's 1, 2, and 3 kind of at the bottom. So yeah, I'll add another bead here. And then I'll just fast forward the next stage so you guys don't have to watch me do every single loop. It's kind of like a Valentine's-y-ish tutorial, although I think love hearts sell well no matter what time of year you're doing it. But if you guys want to tell me anything about your Valentine's Day plans, do you have any plans? Do you care about Valentine's Day? Comment down below, let me know what's going on in your lives. If you haven't joined the Facebook group yet, come and join. That'll be linked below as well. Yeah, just let me know what's going on with you guys. I love hearing about your lives and your stories and your makes. I love hearing what you're making and how you're doing. Oh, also, before I am going to fast forward it in a minute when we do this next bit, but I just want to say I started a secondary YouTube channel, and it's a beauty makeup one because I don't know if I've actually told you guys, you know what, I'm going to do a dedicated video on it explaining like what's happened like the past year and a bit. But I'm pretty sure when I did like behind my channel, I was on about the fact that like I'm trying to take back part of my life from my illness and, you know, get back to what I love and what I, you know, doing what I can within my health. I'm pretty sure I mentioned it. I can't really remember. You guys know I have brain fog, so. Anyway, so I've started a beauty YouTube channel. I'm going to link that below, and I would love it if you guys could support me on there as well, you know, even if you're not necessarily into beauty, you know, those subscriptions really do help. You've got to get 1,000 before YouTube even consider you a real channel. And I haven't even reached that on this channel yet. I'm only at like 18 subscribers on the other one, and I've got 519 on this one at this point, so still a long way to go even on this channel. But if you guys want to support me, you know, and help me, then I would love that very much. Anyway, yeah, it's just, I've just put both of them under the name Kayleigh Kavanagh, because I did have this one as Kayleigh Kavanagh Jewellery Making Tutorials, but it was making it more difficult for people to find me. So I just dropped it to my name, and then, you know, hopefully if anyone in future does ever Google me, they'll get both results, and then maybe subscribe to both channels. A girl can hope. Yeah, so that's just a little bit about me. So I'm going to fast forward now and get round to the next layer, by which point I probably will have to add in some wire, so then I'll show you how to do that. Okay guys, so we've come to the end of this layer. We'd be starting a new one here, and what I'm going to do is show you how to finish this off. One good thing is it's less obvious because the wraps are so close together in this one. So I've just done the final one here. If you remember, this is where we did the beginning of connecting the two layers together. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this over like this, and I'm going to actually link it through. I don't know how clear it's going to be on camera because this is, I do have a macro or micro lens, whatever you want to call it, but because this is such fine detail, I know even sometimes my camera struggles to pick it up. And so do my own eyes. Okay, so we're just trying to go through this little loop here. The reason being that we want to be able to hide it in there. So I'm going to take my pliers and grab the bit of wire that's coming out now, and just I'm holding all of this in place so that we don't have, you know, it wriggling around everywhere. Pulling that there, and then what I'm going to do is just link this. I'm going to do it probably this side because I need to attach on the other side, so we'll just do a couple of loops to like hide this out the way. Okay, and then we're just gonna cut that bit of wire. You guys should know the drill about, you know, making it sit nicely. We don't want to get in our own way later on. Okay, I'm pretty sure I just made that worse. Oh, this is what happens when you can't see properly. I'm just gonna come off camera a moment, guys, just to fix whatever I just did. Okay. So be careful when you do that in case you end up messing other parts of wire. I should have known better. Anyway, so we're going to attach another lot of wire. If you have seen, oh, which video was it? Viking, it's actually the most popular one on my channel actually so far, Viking weave around a cabochon. And I think it was in option 1. I did add in wire as well. So if you've seen that one, this is the same thing basically. We're going to go, I'm going to start on this side, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it on the loop behind because this is probably going to be easier. And I'm going to pull this through to that point, hold this out the way, and I'm basically just going to anchor the wire to this back loop. And then we've got our wire. We need to bring it through. So I'm going to bring it up here. So I'm going to actually bring it through this loop. Try and be careful at this point because we've got a lot going on. And the wire likes to kink and go back in on itself. Okay, gotcha. Alright, so it's come through here now, and we're going to end up doing our loop as much as it would be better to do it here, we're going to have to go over here just because that's the way it's working. You know, don't be afraid to just do what the wire wants to do, because it does have a mind of its own. When it decides it's going to go somewhere or isn't going to go somewhere, there is no negotiating. There we go. Just going to pull this. Okay, there we are. So the next loop would be where the bead is, but because that bead's taking up that space, we're going to have to skip that one. And also, like I mentioned before, the because this is such a small area, it's better to skip it anyway, just at this point, because you don't want to have to fight the wire and have like too much in one small space. So that's what we're going to do. Okay, and then you can do the next one if you want, or you could skip straight over. I'm going to do the next one. Get out of the way. Alright, and then I'm going to skip over where we've put the bead in. I could do it around it, but I just don't really want to have to fight it and make it look messy. I'd rather just skip straight over and go to the next bit. Okay, so I'm just gonna pull that there. So there you have it. Now it's sat in that bit, it's kind of created a frame, and then we're gonna go through this next one. And again, because it's tighter here at the bottom, it's good to skip over this next bead, so we'll be going straight over here. And there we go. And then we're going to go into this loop here. Okay, now where you're wanting to add beads in again, this will be the layer that you do it. So I am going to add in a bead here. I've decided, normally by this point I'd be laying back down, but I haven't updated on the channel again in a while, so I'm like forcing myself. We are making today and that is it. Yep, so we're going to go through what will be, see that little one there is the one we made when we came through, so we're just going to ignore that as if it's not even there. And we're going to go up through here, pull this, and you want to put that bead over there, and we're just going to, because we're getting to the point where this side is almost as like against that bit of wire, pull it. Okay, and then we do have enough room to fit in between there. This is the point where you would decide whether you wanted to skip loops or not. It's entirely up to you guys. Okay, and if I'm going to add a bead in, I'm going to add it in here. Basically I do every 3 loops is when I add in a bead from when I start. I mean, you can have them stay like staggered if you'd rather. I'm not going to do that just because I don't mind having a bit of a difference. So we're going to go through this next bead, this next loop here. Come back up. Come along wire, play nice. It's also getting a bit more fiddly at this point. This is another reason why this is the more advanced version of the tutorial, because it just takes a lot more energy, paying attention, you know, correcting yourself whenever needed. So I'm going to go for this bottom one. And then we would add the third bead in here, so that's what I'm going to do. It is kind of staggered on this side, so showing you both options technically. But it's just the way the loops have decided to form. There we go. So we're going to go through, we go forward through here, don't we? And then back up. You could also leave, you know, instead of going right to the very end. Would you like to see me do this with a cabochon in the middle, is basically what I'm trying to get to. Would you like to see another version of this? Because there is another thing we can do at this point, which obviously I haven't done. So instead of going right to the very centre, we could leave a space and then include it. Okay, I've gone back through the wrong way here. Do be careful at this point because it's easy to get confused with the wires going in the wrong place, as you guys just saw I did. Oh, okay, it didn't go through the wrong place, I just must have pulled it the wrong way. So just be careful with that. So this is 2. And then we would add a third bead, you know, here. So let's straighten you up a bit. You're going to come through here. I might use my pliers to pull this bit through actually, just so I'm not having to fight the detail so much. Okay, and then pull, 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 pull. And then basically we're just going to do the last few loops to bring it so that we don't have anything in the centre. Like here, you could put a bead in the very centre if you wanted to. It's up to you. This is also the point where you would have to skip loops. Okay, so I'm not going to go to that one, I'm just going to go straight over into this one again. Sorry if this isn't clear, guys. Basically we're just filling in the loops, that's all we're doing. We're just going around and skipping loops until we get to the middle bit, because we can't do every single loop of this size. I mean, you could if you really, really wanted to. I just don't want to have to do that level of work because I'm struggling to see. So let's go. And obviously as the space between gets smaller, it's just another thing to be aware of. Let's pull that forward. Okay, and then finally I'm going to go through this last loop here, which is the one we created a minute ago. So this will be my last loop. And then we'll finish it off. Oops. Don't shake too much, Kayleigh, it doesn't help any. Okay, let's just move that out of the way, that out of the way, and pull that to there. Okay, so we've done all that. Now what we could do is just do another couple of loops in that part and then it would hold. There would be no need to do anything extra, but I'm actually going to use the bead to come back up through, and then, so I'm just going to hold this tight, pull pull it here, and then if you can see we're sort of following the line that we did earlier, and then we can just wrap this here. And again, just do some ankle loops and then snip. Okay, and then like before, you want to do this, just be careful of the other wires going on in the area. So there you have the love heart, and we've done it right to the very centre, and we've put in beads, we added in wire, and then we'll put this on a jumper in the same way we did with the beginner easier version. So I'll just do that now, do it that way. If these, you know, you're doing these as earrings, obviously you'd put one on one side, one on the other. Obviously the detail is slightly different in them ones, that's why that was the, you know, beginner, and that's the more advanced version. If you would like to see me do another version where we only do so much and then in the centre we put something like, I don't know, a cabochon, or we drop a bead in, if you would like to see that, do comment below. I can do that as another video, and I think it would be quite cute. The idea behind this was Valentine's Day, but again, love hearts are popular no matter whenever you're interested. So yeah, thank you so much for watching this. Thank you for giving me your time and energy. If you've liked this video, please give it a big thumbs up. Also, if you want to leave a comment down below, comments help like boost the video, like more people see it, so if you want to help me there, that's great. And if you do have any comments generally, that's always welcome. I love hearing from you guys. Facebook group, I think I already mentioned it, but if you want to join, come along. It's linked in the description box below. If you could hit that subscribe button, again, that supports me, it helps me, and it's great. And then if there's a little bell notification next to it as well, so if ever you want to get notified every time I upload, that tells you, you get like a little notification saying uploaded, and you usually get to know before other people as well, so that's great. I think that's everything for now. I do have some more videos hopefully coming soon. Yeah, so love you all so much, thank you again, and I hope to see you all soon. Bye!